East versus West 11, Paul Linn versus Irakli Zirakashvili. #1 contender match for a chance to fight the champion Sasha Andreev in 95 kilo class. It's a big, interesting, unpredictable match for me. Both guys have their strengths, their weaknesses. How do you see this? Irakli just pulled 105, then he went down to...
That's the same, yeah.
Right.
He was pulling 105 before, and...
Paul Linn is 95 for a day. No, for a few hours. Paul is massive.
He's walking around, what?
300 kilos at least. He's big.
Or 300 pounds.
I don't know. I don't know how big he walks around, but he's big. He's always like on point cutting, like every time I see him.
It seems like both of them will cut quite a lot of weight.
Yeah, I think so. None of them walks around in, I think, 95 or maybe even like 10 kilos, maybe 10 kilos, 103, 100 and something like that. Paul looks big when you see Paul, right? Paul looks like, how is this even possible? But
all previous times when we talked about Paul, we always said he's like underdog and not the favorite. I don't know what to say right now. I'm always wrong. I'm always wrong with him, and he always proves us that he is much better than we are
giving him credit.
Absolutely. Only difference right now, he's pulling against elite top roller. Before, he pulled against great arm wrestlers: Rustam Babayev, Sasha Andreev, Ruslan Babayev, also Joe. But no one of them was so clear top roller. Of course, Rustam and Sasha, and lately Sasha, they can do both.
Yeah, but that's not what they're known for, right?
Absolutely. So that makes me a little bit more suspicious how it will go and how Paul will fight against. Because it's a big difference if someone is going arm against arm, and Paul's arm strength
is insane.
Absolutely, and I don't have any questions about who could win inside game, for example, if they will go inside or if Paul will stop Irakli in a good position with good wrist and hand. He's absolutely in a game. But what he could do against so good top roll arm wrestlers, that's a question. We don't know.
Yeah, we haven't seen that, like someone who just specifically attacks the hand, right? Like explosively, like Irakli does.
And we know it's very hard to hook Irakli. He lost against Ongarbayev, Kirigali Ongarbayev. He lost against Dadekyan, but I would say both of them top rolled him, or Dadekyan more like with good practice went to side, but still it was almost like top roll. He was not really able to get inside, and
you kind of stay with the flat wrist and a lot of pressure.
He lost a fight or two fights against Rustam Babayev, Irakli. But then again, it was not clear that Rustam was able to
he was
hook.
more sideways, just.
But we have to remember also that Irakli was struggling against Sasha Andreev when Sasha stayed with flat wrist and gave that side press. Similarly, Irakli when Rustam stopped him with flat hand and then was not really like with lost wrist, he was able to fight Irakli. So it makes absolutely sense of this fight because we have seen both of those athletes fighting good with Sasha Andreev, with Rustam Babayev, with same opponents, and all of those were good fights. So I expect to see a good fight here as well.
Yeah, the question will be, can Paul contain Irakli, right? That's the real question. If Paul cannot contain him, he will lose his wrist, and then it's going to be... I think Paul still has a lot of power even without the wrist, right? But will that be enough? But Paul is looking like he very rarely loses his wrist. He always stays together. He can top roll, he can hook. It's hard to predict this match.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a question how it will be against.
In the strap, I think Paul will do very well.
Because we can also remember Krasimir Kostadinov against Irakli. When Irakli was able to block a wrist and Krasi stayed with flat wrist and he took his pronator and Krasi in this position just goes sideways. And lately Irakli, he's much more dominant also with sideways, not just purely trying to curl someone or lift someone up with his back pressure and angle. So it's a great fight. And you ask how I see? There are so many questions we don't know.
Right. There's so many variables that we will find out in 5 days. But it's very hard to predict for me too. I would say like it's right now it looks 50-50 because I can see Paul winning and I can see Irakli winning. Right. If Irakli is just too much on the back pressure, I think Paul will. There's going to be a lot of power. I think Paul will definitely stop him. It will. I don't see it as a flash pin. Maybe even on first rounds. Paul is very focused. He will get the strap, and in the strap, he will try to contain him. Can he keep everything together when Irakli is a master of taking your hand? He's really,
if Irakli
really
will take a wrist hand and pronator, and Paul will be in this open position, it will be very hard for him.
Yes,
he
needs at least to be a little bit inside, a little bit even here,
flat,
a little bit
flat wrist is still okay. A little bit lost wrist is still okay if he have. And one more thing, I don't know if he need to try to get inside with Irakli.
No, I think top roll is a better option for this one.
Side pressure, top roll, maybe he could try to attack with hand, but stay close. Otherwise, if he will go forward, he could be too much open, and also he will give up his rotator by doing that. And trying to get inside with Irakli is maybe not best option.
No, even Todd Hutchings was hard for him to get fully inside, right? Todd was still kind of here and coming back and forward, right? It's because Irakli is he's tall armor, right? I think for him, if you have tall, like you're also tall, like Paul is, it's better matchup than someone shorter, like Rustam or Sasha, right? Because then you have to come down to them. You can't keep rising, and here I think the advantage, because he's so tall, will be on him. But I think Paul is really strong. I think when he's preparing, and I think this is the big match, this is the moment, right? He'll be coming in probably in best shape ever if everything goes right.
Every time he shows up, it seems like in East-West, it seems like he's in the best shape ever.
Yeah, he lost just to Sasha. And he was this far from winning.
Yeah, he was
this far
2-0 for Paul.
And I think if they pull one more time, right, whoever is, I think it's great because Irakli pulled Sasha in 2021-22. Like, I think the pandemic was going on, but 2020, Engin set up a tournament or a supermatch.
It was supermatch.
First round, Irakli won, and then Sasha, got the side pressure, and Irakli just gassed out. I think he wants to have a revenge because I think he has progressed a lot. And Sasha is always good. Like he doesn't get worse. He's just, I think he's good. I haven't seen him getting much better. We'll see against these kind of opponents.
Yeah, Sasha and Irakli and Paul Linn, they're like contender for. But why not Rustam Babayo?
Rustam just lost to Irakli.
Okay,
that's why.
Because I want to see Sasha and Rustam.
Yeah, who doesn't? But I think like
statistically, is that
yes, that's everything says it's going to be a war, right?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about that match. Paul Linn pulled with Rustam.
Yeah, then it's fair, right? Of course, yeah. Because Irakli 3-2, he won against them.
Yeah, and I think Rustam right now is not the same Rustam as it was when he pulled Paul Linn. He's like coming back from that kind of injury, right? It's hard here, and like you see him on table. I think he needs a little bit gain back because Rustam, when he's at peak form or at good shape, is just destroyer. Like and him and Sasha is definitely a match. But in my opinion, these guys get the #1 contender. Whoever faces that. Let's say if Sasha loses the next match or whatever, we need to set up that match. If he loses, yes, let's set it up. If Sasha wins, Rustam needs to win to get, that kind of makes more sense, right? Yeah. And then it's very interesting, at least for us. Hard to predict. It's going to be an amazing match. Fan favorites, Paul Linn with world favorite, Irakli Zirakashvili. Yeah, East versus West, 11, live on pay-per-view. Link is in description. Stay strong.
And love arm wrestling.